Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is your CEO, Veterans Council of Veterans, Tony Williams, and welcome to our show. The slide you saw there is that we are now getting ready for our third Military Sexual Trauma Conference. It's going to be the 5th and 7th of April at USF Tampa. And I tell you, the theme of the show is called Healing Our Families and the Relationships. And this is something that we kind of overlook. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? We think families are very important, and I'll show you why. But before we go, I first want to sit there and give you a quick snip of why we do this. And I tell you, one reason why we do it is because women veterans have twice the rate of suicide than non-women veterans, and the main reason why is military sexual assault. But first, let me show you the reason why. It takes the whole village to be effective when it comes to suicide prevention. I want you to know that Veterans Council of Veterans is part of that community. You will see that suicide is our main focus. We want to welcome other organizations part of this because it's going to take the village.
My name is Kevin Cagle, and I am a U.S. Army veteran, and I'm a military sexual trauma survivor. Every day is a battle, every single day. But I'm not that same person I was 6 years ago that woke up in the morning, grabbed a bottle of vodka, and chased it with beer until I would just pass out at night, and I would beg God to not let me wake up in the morning. I'm not that guy anymore. And I've taken this bad experience that I had, and I'm doing something positive with it. There was no question that I had to do something with what happened to me, and I've had a voice, and I'm being heard. But I have Tony from Veterans Council and Veterans to thank for that. I've met numerous male survivors from military sexual trauma since I've been on this journey, and they wake up every day, grab that bottle, start taking pills, whatever it takes, just to get through the day. And they constantly think about suicide. And if I can keep one person from doing that, it'll be worth it.
That's why. That's Kevin our last conference. And even if it's helped just one person from contemplating or attempting suicide, it's worth it. It's worth it. And that's one of the things I want to bring to your attention. So one of the things we do as we get ready for this conference, we like to show in the next couple of weeks, we start showing our guest speakers so you get a insight of who we have. We have a really quality, all these guest speakers, and I'm really excited about the one I'm going to introduce to you. Somebody I've been following since I've been going to school and getting my master's in counseling service. And I knew when he was a major, and now he's an 06, and now he's finally retired. And I really followed him, and I'm really excited by him agreeing to be a part of this. And I really can't overemphasize that. So first, I want to sit there and introduce you, Colonel Jeff Yarvis. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm superb. Great to be with you, Tony.
Roger that. And Jeff is like, again, he spent over like 30, how many years you've been in? About 34 years in the Army?
34 years is wonderful.
And is you're the first social worker to actually command the medical brigade, right?
Correct.
One of the things I read into your things. You have lots of freaking nuggets that you've done. I'm so excited to have somebody like on our show. But before I comment, I want to show you something real quick. And I want you to comment because one of the things that we're doing, this conference is coming up. We're really focusing on the effects that military sexual assault has on the family. And I want to show you this report real quick, and then we'll come back and you can comment on it.
Outstanding.
And now an NPT reports Children's Health Update.
Military children often experience fear and stress when a parent is deployed. Now, a clinical report shows they are more at risk for depression, worry, and insomnia. The American Academy of Pediatrics released a new study and makes recommendations for health providers who care for children who have family members serving in the military. The report says preschool-age children may experience high levels of emotional outbursts, anxiousness, and withdrawal compared to children whose parents are not deployed. Children between ages 5 and 17 are at risk for emotional and behavioral problems, especially with longer deployments of their parents.
2 million American children have served honorably as children of military family members and have been exposed to these things. We know that these are risk factors that unless we do something to support military children and military families, not just at the end of the war, but in the years beyond, they're going to be exposed to significant risk factors that will affect their emotional and physical development. Placing counselors directly in schools, informing our teachers more about what the risk factors are for emotional symptoms that children may have, and using evidence-based therapies to help children deal with the skills that they need to cope with the emotional stress that their family has been under has been shown to work, and it'll improve the outcome.
To learn more about children's mental health.
So, Jeff, watching that video, can you give it, and this is one of the main focus of our conference. Can you give us a little insight on what you just saw in that video?
Well, thanks, Tony. I'm really excited about the conference because I think the video hits the nail on the head, and to be able to talk about this with everybody is not only a professional vocation, but a personal mandate, because I think it's right. We come home and we transmit not only our healthy values to our families, but we transmit our trauma, our anxieties, our fears. So even if we're not overtly talking about our deployment-related traumas or a military sexual trauma, the children are growing up in an environment that might be a little bit less consistent, unstable, potentially scary from a safety standpoint. And we know that children who are healthy often will regress. So there's this assumption sometimes that children are automatically resilient, and by and large they are, and they can overcome these things and gain strength from it. But they need the help that the video talks about along the way, as well as with their parents. And for the military, they're really committed to this, although we still have work to do, because we know that this is not only a readiness issue if the soldiers are worried about their family members back home, but also it takes their focus on their day-to-day activities and their own recovery. And finally, these kids, we want them to grow up healthy and be supportive and in a nurturing environment and grow and be the stereotype of a military kid that's resilient. But we need to address this before it becomes an intergenerational problem where they continue to pass this along from one family member to the next. And so that stability is really key. The help is there and it works. And I'm really excited to share my thoughts with that at this conference coming up. I think it'll be great.
Yes, and we appreciate that. We don't want to get too much away on this promo, but when you come to the conference, you're gonna hear not only an affirmation, or hey, yes, this is something that is happening. You're not going crazy. But we also hear some solutions that you already mentioned, that there are ways of helping, and that's what we want to also present at this conference. So anyway, we encourage everybody here to come to the conference. It's not just for the survivor, but it's for the family of survivors. And one of the best guest speakers I can think I have for this is Colonel Jeff Yarvis. Before we go, Jeff, any last comments?
Well, I think it's going to be great. I think, like you said, Tony, this conference is going to be for everybody. It'll feel like, I hope, by way of discussion, that we're there for you, that we understand what you're going through in your own unique way, and that help is there, and that people who attend will walk away with a better understanding and practical solutions on how to recognize these things and be a support member, whether they're somebody who's interested in supporting military families or a military family member themselves. Thank
you very much, Jeff. And I'll see you in Tampa on the 5th of April. Say hi to your wife and your kids.
Looking forward to it, sir.
Roger that. So here we go. Again, coming up April 5th and the 7th. This is a conference you will not have had experience, and you're going to experience now. Because why have you experienced? Because we're going to talk about the families, how it affects the families, how we can help those families. So it's about connect, educate, and empower. So again, the 4th and 7th of April, USF Tampa. We got great speakers, including we just heard from Colonel Jeff Yarvis. Don't hesitate. Do it now. Heal a family today by registering and sharing. Until then, this is Tony Williams from Veterans Council of Veterans. Outro.